Ryan Carter looked out the window of his spaceship, the Wanderlust. Stars glittered like diamonds against the black canvas of space. He sipped his coffee and checked the navigation screen. Everything was on course. His cargo of medical supplies would reach the mining colony on Proxima 3 in 3 days. At 35, Ryan had seen more of space than most humans ever would. After 10 years as a Navy SEAL on Earth, he had traded military life for the freedom of being a cargo pilot. The pay was decent, and he answered to no one but himself. Warning: unknown object detected at coordinates 227 to 883. Announced Aria, the ship's artificial intelligence. Ryan put down his mug. Show me. A holographic display appeared, showing a small object drifting among asteroid debris. Looks like an escape pod. Ryan muttered. Any life signs? One life form detected. Biological signature unknown. Oxygen levels in the pod are dropping. Ryan scratched his stubbled chin. This sector was known for pirate activity. The smart move would be to report the pod and continue on his route. But someone was in trouble. Aria. Adjust course. Let's check it out. Course adjustment complete. Advisory. This action may delay scheduled delivery. Ryan smiled. Some things are more important than schedules. The Wanderlust slowed as it approached the damaged pod. It was unlike any escape pod Ryan had seen before. The sleek, oval shape was made of a silvery blue metal that seemed to shimmer with its own light. Ryan maneuvered his ship carefully, extending the docking arm to secure the pod. Aria, prepare the airlock and run decontamination protocols. With practiced movements, Ryan put on his pressure suit and helmet. He grabbed a medkit and made his way to the airlock. The pod was now safely inside his cargo bay. When the airlock door opened, Ryan gasped. The pod's hatch was transparent, revealing its occupant. Inside was a woman. At least, she looked mostly like a woman, with skin the color of a summer sky. Delicate patterns that resembled frost on a window traced across her face. Her hair floated around her head like silver seaweed, and a thin circlet with glowing blue stones sat on her brow. Aria, what am I looking at? Subject appears to be Zetherian, a species from the Andromeda Galaxy. They are known for advanced technology and limited contact with humans. Ryan had heard stories about Zetherians. They were said to be millions of years ahead of humans in technology, but kept to themselves. No human had reported direct contact in over 50 years. The pods systems were failing. Ryan found the emergency release and opened the hatch. Cool air hissed out, smelling faintly of cinnamon and ozone. The blue-skinned woman didn't move. Ryan checked her pulse, thankfully in roughly the same place as a human's, and found it weak but steady. He carefully lifted her from the pod. She was lighter than she looked, almost as if her bones were hollow. Back in the medical bay, Ryan placed her on the examination table. His medical scanner hummed as it passed over her still form. Patient is stable but unconscious, Aria reported. Minor injuries detected. Recommend standard treatment protocol. Ryan applied healing gel to the cuts on her arms and the bruise on her temple. As he worked, he noticed her clothes weren't like the simple jumpsuits most space travelers wore. Her outfit was made of a material that shifted colors like oil on water, with intricate designs that might be writing or just decoration. Proximity. Alert, Aria announced suddenly. 3 vessels approaching at high speed. Ryan rushed to the bridge. 3 black ships had appeared on his radar, moving fast and in attack formation. They're hailing us, Aria said. Ryan opened the communication. Channel. A harsh voice filled the bridge. Cargo vessel Wanderlust. This is Captain Dresk of the Harvester. You have property that belongs to us. Surrender the escape pod and its occupant immediately. Ryan frowned. This is Ryan Carter of the Wanderlust. I've found an injured person in need of medical help. Under space law, I'm obligated to provide assistance. That creature is a fugitive, Captain Dresk growled. Hand her over, or we will take her by force. The threat was clear. Ryan looked at the scanner. The ships were armed and had him outgunned. But something felt wrong. If they were legitimate authorities, they would identify themselves properly. I need to see your authorization, Ryan said, buying time as he plotted an escape route through the nearby asteroid field. You have 10 seconds to lower your shields, human. Ryan made his decision. Aria, full power to engines and shields. Plot course through the asteroid field. Warning. Recommended safety protocols advise against just do it. The Wanderlust lurched forward as Ryan pushed the throttle to maximum. The ship trembled as energy weapons from the pursuing vessels grazed the shields. Ryan's years of military training kicked in. He weaved through the asteroids, using the larger ones for cover. The Wanderlust was smaller and more agile than the pursuing ships, but one good hit would finish them. A blast rocked the ship, throwing Ryan against the control panel. Shield integrity at 42%, Aria reported calmly. Ryan spotted a dense cluster of asteroids ahead. It was risky, but he had no choice. He cut the main engines and switched to maneuvering thrusters, sliding the ship into a narrow gap between two massive space rocks. Power down all non-essential systems, he ordered. Let them think we're more damaged than we are. The ship went dark and quiet. Ryan held his breath as the enemy vessels passed by. Their sensors confused by the mineral content of the asteroids. About after 10 minutes, Aria spoke softly. Hostile vessels have moved out of sensor range. Ryan exhaled slowly. Damage report? Hull. Integrity at 86%. Engine efficiency reduced to 73%. Estimated repair time, 3 days. Ryan rubbed his face. The delivery would definitely be late now. A soft noise made him turn. The blue woman stood in the doorway of the bridge, one hand against the wall for support. Her eyes were open now, solid purple with no visible pupils, yet somehow expressing confusion and wariness. Who are you? She asked in perfect English, her voice musical and strange. Why did you help me? Ryan stood slowly, trying to appear non-threatening. I'm Ryan Carter. This is my ship, the Wanderlust. I found your pod drifting in space. The woman touched the circlet on her head, which pulsed with light. Those who were chasing me ... they are gone? For now, Ryan said, but they seemed pretty determined. Want to tell me why they want you so badly? She straightened, suddenly looking regal despite her injuries. My name is Lyria, and I fear I have brought great danger to your ship, Ryan Carter. Ryan and Lyria sat in the small dining area of the Wanderlust. He had made her a cup of hot tea, which she sniffed curiously before taking a small sip. Her purple eyes widened with surprise. This is pleasant, she said. We have nothing like this on Zetheria. It's just tea, Ryan said with a smile. So, are you going to tell me why those ships were after you? Lyria touched the glowing circlet on her head. I was on a diplomatic mission when my ship was attacked. I barely escaped. She looked down at her hands. I am not certain who I can trust. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Well, I did just risk my ship and my life to save you. That should count for something. Lyria studied his face. Yes, that was ... unexpected. Zetherians do not often encounter such actions from other species. It's called basic decency, Ryan said. And now we need to figure out what to do next. My ship is damaged. We can't outrun those hunters if they find us again. Lyria stood up and walked to the viewport. Stars glittered in the darkness. The nearest Zetherian outpost is in the Cygnus system. If we can reach it, I will be safe. Cygnus is 3 days away at full power, Ryan said. And we're not at full power. Plus, I have a delivery to make. Your cargo is medical supplies, correct? Lyria asked. I can compensate you far beyond their value. The Cytherian Dominion has resources that would seem like magic to humans. Ryan thought about it. The mining colony would be fine for a few extra days. They had enough medical supplies to handle routine matters. And he was curious about this mysterious woman and her people. All right, he decided. Cygnus it is. But I need to make repairs first. Over the next day, Ryan worked on fixing the Wanderlust's damaged systems. To his surprise, Lyria offered to help. She understood ship technology better than many engineers he had met. This power coupling is inefficient, she said, examining a part he was trying to repair. Your technology is ... interesting. You mean primitive, Ryan laughed. Different, she corrected. You achieve space travel with such simple tools. It is impressive. As they worked, Ryan learned more about Lyria. She was careful not to reveal too much, but he gathered that Cytherian society was highly structured and formal. Simple things like Ryan cooking actual food instead of using food synthesizers fascinated her. You prepare food with your hands, she observed as he made a simple pasta dinner. On Cytheria, only servants would do such tasks. I'm not big on servants, Ryan said. I like doing things myself. That night, after Lyria had gone to rest in the spare cabin, Ryan asked Arya to search the ship's database for information about Cytherians. Limited data available, Arya reported. Cytherian Dominion spans 27 star systems. Highly advanced technology. Ruled by a hereditary monarchy. Current ruler is King Valorian. Cytherians rarely interact with humans or other species. Ryan frowned. A simple diplomat wouldn't have 3 ships hunting her down. Lyria was hiding something important. The next morning, the ship's sensors detected a trading outpost on a small moon. They needed more supplies for repairs, so Ryan decided to dock. He gave Lyria a hooded cloak to hide her blue skin and distinctive features. Stay close to me, he told her as they entered the bustling marketplace. This place can be rough. The outpost was crowded with humans and aliens from dozens of worlds. Shops and stalls sold everything from fresh food to ship parts. Ryan led Lyria to a vendor who specialized in power cells. While Ryan haggled over prices, Lyria wandered a few steps away, fascinated by the various alien species. She had never seen so many different beings in one place. Suddenly, Ryan grabbed her arm and pulled her behind a tall stack of cargo containers. What? She began, but he put a finger to his lips. Those men by the entrance, he whispered. They matched the description of the crew from the ships that attacked us. 3 burly men with laser pistols at their hips were showing a hologram to the security guard. The image was clearly of Lyria. They found us, she whispered, fear in her purple eyes. Ryan looked around quickly. There's a service corridor behind that restaurant. We can slip out the back way to the ship. They moved carefully through the crowd. They were almost at the corridor when one of the men shouted, There she is! Laser fire hit the wall next to them. People screamed and scattered. Ryan pushed Lyria toward the corridor. Run, he shouted. Get to the ship. I'll hold them. Off. Lyria hesitated, but more laser fire convinced her. She ran down the corridor while Ryan ducked behind a metal cart. He pulled out his own blaster, a souvenir from his military days that he rarely used. The men approached cautiously, spreading out to surround him. Ryan fired twice, hitting one man in the leg. The other 2 took cover and returned fire. Ryan knew he couldn't win this fight. He just needed to buy Lyria enough time to reach the Wanderlust. He fired again, then rolled to a new position. A laser blast grazed his arm, burning through his jacket. Ryan winced, but kept moving. He made it to the corridor and ran after Lyria. He found her not at the ship, but hiding in an alcove near the docking bay. Her circlet was glowing brightly as her fingers moved across a control panel on the wall. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked, keeping watch for their pursuers. "We need to go." "Accessing the outpost security system," she said, her fingers moving with incredible speed. And ... Alarms blared throughout the outpost. Metal security doors slammed down, separating them from their hunters. "How did you do that?" Ryan asked, amazed. Lyria's face was grim. "There is much I haven't told you." They made it back to the Wanderlust and took off quickly. Once they were safely away from the outpost, Ryan turned to Lyria. "Time for the truth," he said firmly. "All of it." Lyria took a deep breath. She removed the circlet from her head and held it in her hands. The blue stones pulsed with inner light. "I am Princess Lyria Zath Viridian," she said quietly, "heir to the throne of the Zetherian Dominion. My father, the king, was assassinated 3 days ago. My uncle has seized power and blames me for the king's death. These men are his agents, sent to capture or kill me." Ryan stared at her in shock. "You're a princess? Why didn't you tell me?" "Would you have believed me?" she asked. "And would it have changed your decision to help?" Ryan thought about it. "No, I guess not." "But what's that thing?" He pointed to the circlet. "This is the crown neural matrix," Lyria explained. "It contains the collective wisdom of past rulers and the access codes to our defense systems. My uncle wants it to cement his power. Without it, I cannot prove my right to rule." Ryan leaned back in his chair, trying to process this information. He had rescued an alien princess, made enemies of what sounded like an entire alien kingdom, and was now flying straight towards Zetherian space. "Well," he said finally, "this delivery job just got a lot more complicated." The Wanderlust flew through the darkness of space towards Zetherian territory. Ryan sat at the controls, thinking about everything Lyria had told him. A princess. He had rescued an actual alien princess. It sounded like something from an old movie. "We will reach the border in 6 hours," Arya announced. Lyria entered the bridge. She had changed into fresh clothes that Ryan had found for her simple black pants and a blue shirt. The crown neural matrix still sat on her brow, glowing softly. "Once we cross into Zetherian space, we must be careful," she said. "My uncle, Regent Dravix, controls the border patrols. But there are those still loyal to me." "How will we know which is which?" Ryan asked. Lyria touched her circlet. "The matrix. Can identify friend from foe through our communication systems." Ryan nodded, though he didn't fully understand how the strange device worked. "So what's the plan when we get there? March up to the palace and tell your uncle to step aside?" Lyria almost smiled. "Not quite so direct. First, we must contact General Cora, my father's most trusted advisor. She commands forces loyal to the Crown." As they approached the border, a large ship appeared on the sensors. Its design was unlike anything Ryan had seen, sleek and silver, with blue energy patterns flowing across its hull. "Zetherian patrol vessel," Lyria said tensely. "Let me handle this." The communication screen lit up. A stern-faced Zetherian with deep blue skin stared at them. "Unidentified vessel, you are approaching Zetherian space. State your purpose or be destroyed." Lyria stepped forward, head held high. "I am Princess Lyria Zath Viridian, rightful heir to the throne. By the authority of the Crown Neural Matrix, I demand safe passage." The officer's eyes widened at the sight of Lyria and the glowing circlet. He immediately bowed his head. "Your Highness, we believed you were lost in the attack. The entire Dominion mourns the king and feared for your safety as well. The official story is a lie, Lyria said firmly. I seek an audience with General Cora. At once, Your Highness. The officer paused. But I must inform you, Regent Dravex has ordered that you be brought directly to him, should you be found. And where do your loyalties lie, Commander? Lyria asked, her voice calm, but with a hint of steel. The commander looked up, his expression resolute. With the true air, Your Highness. Always. Ryan watched the exchange with amazement. Lyria had transformed before his eyes from a refugee into a royal leader. Then escort us to General Cora, not to the palace, Lyria commanded. As you wish. Please follow our vessel. The screen went dark. Ryan raised an eyebrow at Lyria. That went better than expected. Commander Zenith was my father's student many years ago, she explained. But we must still be cautious. Dravex has eyes everywhere. The Zetherian patrol. Ship led them deeper into the system. Soon they approached a massive space station orbiting a blue-green moon. The station was built in a circular design with spires extending outward like a snowflake. Military outpost Krell, Lyria said. General. Cora commands from here. They docked inside a private bay. Commander Zenith met them personally, along with 4 guards in gleaming armor. They all bowed deeply to Lyria. Your Highness, we have secured this level. General Cora awaits you. Ryan followed Lyria through corridors lined with strange, glowing plants and intricate artwork. Zetherians they passed stared at him with open curiosity. Humans were clearly a rare sight here. They entered a large room where a tall, muscular Zetherian woman waited. Her skin was a darker blue than Lyria's, and scars marked her face. She wore an impressive uniform with silver and gold markings. Princes, the woman said, kneeling on one knee. Rise, General, Lyria said warmly. It brings me joy to see you alive. And you, Your Highness. General Cora looked at Ryan with sharp, assessing eyes. Who is this human? This is Ryan Carter, Lyria said. He saved my life when my escape pod was damaged. Without him, I would not be here, and the Matrix would be in Dravex's hands. Cora approached Ryan and studied him closely. Then the Dominion owes you a great debt, human. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. I just did what anyone would do. Cora laughed, a surprisingly warm sound. No, they would not. Especially knowing the danger. She turned back to Lyria. Your uncle has declared you a traitor, Your Highness. He claims you killed the king and fled with the Matrix. As we suspected, Lyria said grimly. What forces remain loyal to the crown? The 7th Fleet, most of the Outer Rim garrisons, and about half the Royal Guard, Cora reported. Not enough for open conflict. Dravex has been planning this for years, placing his supporters in key positions. Then we need evidence of his treachery, Lyria said. And we must act before the stellar conjunction ceremony in 3 days. Once he performs the ritual with a false matrix, even loyal houses will accept him as rightful ruler. False matrix? Ryan asked. My uncle has created a replica, Lyria explained. It cannot truly connect to our ancestral wisdom, but it will fool those who do not know better. General Cora nodded. We have a spy in the palace. Dravex plans to announce your death tomorrow, along with a period of mourning before he claims permanent regency. Then we have little time, Lyria said. She turned to Ryan. I must ask for your help once more. You have no obligation to involve yourself further in our politics. Ryan thought about it. He could take his ship and leave, maybe, with a nice reward from the grateful princess. Return to his simple life of cargo runs. The smart choice would be to stay out of an alien civil war, but looking at Lyria, he knew he couldn't abandon her now. I'm already involved, he said. What's the plan? Lyria smiled, relief clear in her purple eyes. We need to infiltrate the palace and access the royal archives. There, we can find proof of Dravix's communication with the assassins who killed my father. A human would draw too much attention in the palace, Cora said. Unless, Lyria said thoughtfully, he had a reason to be there. She touched the matrix, which pulsed brightly. There is an ancient law rarely invoked. The law of Calith Vor. The life-debt bond. Cora's eyes widened. Your Highness, you cannot be serious. That law has not been used in 1,000 years. What law? Ryan asked, feeling lost. When royal blood is saved by an outsider, Lyria explained, tradition demands recognition through ceremonial bonding. It would give you official status and the right to be in the palace. And much more, Cora muttered. It is our best option, Lyria insisted. Prepare the documents, General, and send word to our allies in the palace. We move tomorrow. Ryan didn't fully understand what he had just agreed to, but the determined look on Lyria's face told him they were committed now. Whatever this ceremonial bonding was, it seemed to be his ticket into the alien palace, and possibly into something much bigger than he had bargained for. The next morning, Ryan stood before a mirror in his quarters on the space station. He barely recognized himself. The Zetherians had dressed him in formal attire, a midnight blue outfit with silver patterns that seemed to flow like water when he moved. The material felt lighter than silk, but stronger than any fabric he knew. The ceremonial attire suits you, Lyria said as she entered the room. She wore a stunning silver dress with blue gems that matched her skin. The crown neural. Matrix gleamed on her brow. I feel ridiculous, Ryan admitted. Are you sure this plan will work? The law of Calith Vor is sacred to my people, Lyria explained. Even Dravix would not dare ignore it openly. Once you are recognized as my lifesaver, you will have the right to stay by my side. General Cora joined them, her face serious. Our allies in the palace are ready. Dravix has called a formal gathering to announce the princess's tragic death. Your appearance will force him to change his plans. And then what? Ryan asked. Then we find the evidence we need in the royal archives. Lyria said, the Matrix can access the security systems, but I need to be physically present in the central chamber. Cora handed Ryan a small device that looked like a silver pen. This is a Zetherian defense wand. It creates an energy shield if you are attacked. Press the top twice to activate. Ryan took it carefully. Thanks. I hope I won't need it. They boarded a sleek royal shuttle. Commander Zenith would pilot them directly to the palace landing pad. 20 loyal soldiers accompanied them, disguised as a formal honor guard dot. As they approached the Zetherian homeworld, Ryan stared out the viewport in awe. The planet was beautiful, vast blue oceans, purple-tinted clouds, and gleaming cities that seemed to grow organically from the landscape. Welcome to Zetheria, Lyria said softly. My home. The capital city was built around a massive structure that resembled a giant crystal. Spires and towers rose from its base, connected by graceful bridges. The royal palace, Lyria explained, built 10,000 years ago by my ancestors. The shuttle landed on a platform extending from one of the towers. A group of officials waited, their expressions changing from formal welcome to shock as Lyria emerged. Your Highness, gasped an elderly Zetherian in elaborate robes. You ... you are alive. Indeed, High Chancellor Vex, Lyria said coldly. I imagine my uncle will be surprised as well. The officials bowed deeply, though Ryan noticed some exchanged worried glances. News of Lyria's arrival would reach Dravix quickly. They were escorted through grand hallways with soaring ceilings and walls made of a material that looked like mother of pearl. Zetherians stopped and stared at the procession. Many bowed to Lyria, while others watched with caution. All of them seemed fascinated by Ryan. They've never seen a human in the palace before, Lyria whispered to him. Finally, they reached Massive. Doors carved with intricate scenes of Cytherian history. 2 guards pushed them open to reveal a vast circular chamber. Hundreds of Cytherians in colorful formal attire filled the space. At the far end, on a raised platform, sat a large male Cytherian with dark blue skin and cold eyes, Regent Dravix. A hush fell over the crowd as Lyria strode forward. Head high, Ryan walked slightly behind her, as they had practiced. The loyal guards formed a protective formation around them. "Uncle," Lyria called out, her voice echoing in the sudden silence. "I have returned to claim my rightful place." Dravix recovered quickly from his shock. He rose from the throne-like chair and spread his arms wide. "My dear niece, what joy to see you alive. We feared the worst after the tragic attack." His voice sounded warm, but his eyes remained cold. Ryan could almost feel the tension crackling between them. "How fortunate you survived," Dravix continued, approaching slowly, "and with the Matrix still in your possession." His gaze flickered to Ryan. "But who is this creature you bring into our sacred halls?" Lyria's voice rang out clearly. "This is Ryan Carter of Earth. When assassins attacked my ship assassins, who knew my exact route, Uncle, he rescued me from certain death. By the law of Calith Vio, I declare him bond friend to the royal house." Murmurs swept through the crowd. The High Chancellor stepped forward, looking troubled. "Your Highness, the law of Calith Vor has not been invoked in 1,000 years, and never for a human. The law makes no distinction between species," Lyria countered. "Only that a life of royal blood was saved. Do you question the ancient laws, Chancellor?" "Of course not," the old Cytherian said quickly. "But the proper ceremonies must be observed. The Council of Elders must verify the claim." "Then let them verify," Lyria said confidently. "I stand by my declaration." Dravix's smile had become fixed. "Of course, dear niece. We shall honor the ancient ways. But first, you must be exhausted from your ordeal. Allow me to arrange quarters for you and your savior." Ryan didn't trust the false concern in Dravix's voice. Neither did Lyria. "I will return to my own chambers," she said, "and Ryan Carter will be given the bond friend suite as tradition." "Demands. As you wish," Dravix conceded. "We shall reconvene tomorrow for the formal proceedings." He turned to the assembled crowd. "Let it be known throughout the Dominion Princess Lyria has returned to us." The crowd applauded, though Ryan noticed many seemed confused by the sudden change in plans. They had clearly come expecting a different announcement. Guards escorted Ryan and Lyria from the Great Hall. Once they were in a private corridor, Cora joined them. "That went as well as could be expected," the general said quietly. "But Dravix will not wait long to act. He will try to separate you from the princess. Then we need to move quickly," Lyria said. "Tonight, when the palace is quiet, we go to the archives." Ryan was shown to an elaborate suite with windows overlooking the glittering city. The rooms were beautiful, but clearly designed for Cytherian comfort. The bed was too short, and strange plants grew from the walls, giving off a faint blue glow dot as night fell over the alien city. Ryan changed into darker clothes that Cora had provided. A soft knock at his door revealed a palace servant. "The regent requests your presence, honored bond friend," the servant said with a bow. Ryan hesitated. This wasn't part of the plan. "At this hour?" "The regent wishes to personally thank you for saving the princess." It was clearly a trap, but refusing would seem suspicious. Ryan touched the defense wand in his pocket. "Lead the way," he said. Instead of going to the throne room, the servant led Ryan to a small, richly decorated chamber. Dravix waited inside, alone except for 2 guards. "Ah, the human hero," Dravix said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I wanted a private word with the man who saved my beloved niece. Ryan stood tall, meeting the regent's gaze. It was the right thing to do. Indeed. Dravix circled Ryan slowly. And now you invoke our most ancient law. Quite convenient. Lyria invoked it, not me, Ryan said. Yes, but do you understand what Calith Vior truly means? Dravix asked. What it will make you. Before Ryan could answer, the door burst open. Lyria stood there with Cora and 4 guards. I thought I might find you here, uncle, she said coldly. Trying to intimidate my bond friend? Dravix stepped back, merely welcoming him properly. We were just about to visit the archives, Lyria said. Perhaps you would like to join us? Fear flashed briefly in Dravix's eyes. The archives are closed. At this hour. Not to the bearer of the Matrix, Lyria said, touching her circlet. Shall we? Dravix had no choice but to accompany them to the archives. They walked through quiet hallways, their footsteps echoing on the smooth floors. Guards from both sides followed at a distance. The archives were in the oldest part of the palace. Massive. Doors made of a dark metal opened at Lyria's touch. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing crystals that contained thousands of years of Zetherian history and knowledge. What exactly do you hope to find here, niece? Dravix asked, his voice too casual. The truth, Lyria said simply. She walked to a central pedestal and placed her hands on it. The crown neural matrix glowed brightly, and the crystals around the room pulsed in response. Ryan watched in amazement as holographic displays appeared in the air. Streams of alien symbols flowed past too quickly for him to follow. Lyria's eyes moved rapidly, reading the information. There, she said suddenly. Communications between your private chamber and the ship that attacked mine. She waved her hand, and the display changed to show what looked like a recording. A hologram of Dravix appeared, speaking to a hooded figure. The princess must not return alive, the recorded Dravix said. Ensure the matrix is recovered intact. The assembled guards gasped. Dravix's face darkened with rage. Lies, he shouted. The matrix can be manipulated to show falsehoods. Not when verified by the royal archives, Cora said firmly. The system records all official communications. Show them what happened to my father, Lyria commanded. The display changed again. Now they saw King Valorian in his private chambers. Dravix entered, bowed respectfully, and offered the king a drink. Minutes later, the king clutched his throat and collapsed. Ryan had seen enough. You poisoned him, he said, glaring at Dravix. Regent's facade crumbled. With a swift motion, he pulled out a hidden weapon, a small device that glowed with energy. The throne was always meant to be mine, he snarled. Valorian was weak. The Dominion needs strength to face the challenges of the galaxy. Dravix's loyal guards drew their weapons. Cora and her soldiers did the same. Ryan reached for his defense wand, but before anyone could fire, Lyria stepped forward. By the power of the crown neural matrix, I command the palace defenses to activate, she said calmly. From the walls, small devices emerged and emitted a field of energy that froze everyone in place. Only Lyria and, to his surprise, Ryan could still move. How am I not affected? Ryan asked in confusion. The Matrix recognizes you, Lyria explained. As my declared bond friend under Calith Vor, you share certain ... privileges. She approached her uncle, who could only move his eyes, now filled with hatred. Dravix, son of the House Viridian, you are guilty of regicide and high treason. The penalty is eternal exile. Her voice was steady but sad. You were once a great advisor to my father. Now you will live the remainder of your days on the prison moon of Krell, with only your thoughts for company. Guards not affected by the security field entered and took Dravix away. One by one, Lyria released the others from the energy field. Dravix's supporters were also arrested. "It is done," Cora said with satisfaction. "Justice for King Valorian, and their rightful heir restored." Lyria looked tired but relieved. "Prepare for an emergency session of the High Council. They must be informed of all that has happened." The next morning, the Great Hall was filled again, but this time with members of the High Council, elderly Zetherians in ceremonial robes. Ryan stood by Lyria's side as she recounted the events of the past days. "With Dravix removed," the High Chancellor announced, "we must proceed with your formal coronation, Your Highness. The stellar conjunction is tomorrow the traditional time for a new ruler to be confirmed." "I am ready," Lyria said. She looked at Ryan. "But first, we must complete the Caliph Vor ceremony. Ryan Carter saved not only my life, but the future of our dominion." The Chancellor looked uncomfortable. "Your Highness, about the Caliph Vor, there is something you should know." Ryan felt a sense of unease. Throughout all of this, no one had fully explained what this bond friend status really meant. "The ancient law is quite specific," the Chancellor continued. "When royal blood is saved by an outsider, and the royal declares them bond friend, the outsider becomes joined to the royal house." "Joined how?" Ryan asked that another council member spoke up. "In the old tongue, Caliph Vor translates to life thread bound. It is what humans might call ... marriage." Ryan's mouth fell open. "Marriage? But nobody mentioned that part." Lyria looked equally surprised. "I was taught it was a ceremonial honor, a symbol of gratitude." The Chancellor shook his head. "That is the modern interpretation. But the law itself has never been changed. If formally recognized, the bond friend becomes royal consort and co-ruler." Whispers erupted throughout the hall. Ryan felt dizzy. He had come to deliver medical supplies, and now was about to become, what? King of an alien civilization? "This is ridiculous," he said quietly to Lyria. "We can't possibly go through with this." Lyria looked troubled. "Without the Caliph Vor recognition, your status here is uncertain. Dravix's supporters could claim you have no right to be in the palace, that you interfered in Zetherian affairs. So my choices are leave or become." "King?" Ryan asked incredulously. Before Lyria could answer, the crown neural matrix on her brow began to pulse with intense light. Suddenly, holographic figures appeared around them, the stored consciousnesses of past Zetherian rulers. "The Matrix has activated the Ancestral Council," the Chancellor whispered in awe. "This hasn't happened in generations." The ghostly figures spoke in unison. "The human has proven worthy. The bond is accepted. The throne shall be shared." The Matrix glowed even brighter, and to everyone's shock, it separated into two parts. One remained on Lyria's brow, while the other floated through the air to Ryan. Before he could react, it settled on his head. A strange sensation flowed through him. Knowledge, insights, the weight of centuries. "This is unprecedented," the Chancellor gasped. "The Matrix has never divided itself. It has accepted both of you." Ryan turned to Lyria, who looked as stunned as he felt. "What does this mean?" "It means," she said slowly, "that the choice has been made for us. The Matrix itself has recognized you as my equal." The next day, the stellar conjunction ceremony proceeded before thousands of Zetherians. Ryan stood beside Lyria, still trying to comprehend how his life had changed so dramatically in just 1 week. "Ready?" Lyria whispered as they prepared to step forward. "Not remotely," Ryan replied honestly. "But I'm here." She smiled. "For what it's worth, I couldn't ask for a better co-ruler. You risked everything to help me when you could have walked away. That's exactly the kind of leadership Zetheria needs." As they stepped forward to be formally recognized, Ryan thought about the cargo of medical supplies still sitting in his ship. That delivery was definitely going to be late now. He would need to send a message to the mining colony explaining why. Sorry about your medical supplies. Got sidetracked. Became king of an alien civilization. Will send replacement shipment when possible. As the Zetherian crowds cheered for their new rulers, Ryan couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it. Of all the wrong turns he had taken in his life, this was definitely the most interesting one. Lyria gave him a questioning look. Ryan just shook his head. I was just thinking, he said. That cargo pilot doesn't look nearly as good on her resume as Alien King. For the first time since he'd met her, Lyria left a sound like silver bells. And Ryan knew that whatever challenges lay ahead in this strange new life, at least he wouldn't face them alone.